So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to manage your health when you're building a business. And why am I talking about health in a business and finance channel? Is because health is related with time and energy, which is one of the most valuable resources on this planet. And you don't want to be the guy who makes a whole bunch of money and then gets a terminal illness because you have not been taking care of yourself throughout the process. And in fact, one of the first things I did after I wrote down my goals, my biggest goals and dreams, is I came to realize that it's going to take me time to get to these goals. You know, I'm on a pathway to getting to these goals, but I'm nowhere near, and it's going to take me time. And I don't want to be in a position of my father, for example, who passed away in his late 40s when he had little kids and he just started to have a lot of money coming his way, and that's when he left. So I didn't want to be in that position. I didn't want to put my family, in my future family, in that position. And it's just like, and you got to think about these things much early on so that you don't get in that position at all. And I realized that my habits weren't right, and I was not going in the right direction with my health early on, because I started smoking when I was 13 years old. I did not have a good diet. I wasn't fat or anything, but I just didn't have a very healthy lifestyle. And I created a projection, a scenario. If this continues on 10 years, 20 years from now, I mean, I'm not going to be in a good position, and I may make money, but then I will lose my health. So what was the point of it all? I wasted my life, you know. So this is the reason why it's important to have this discussion, even if it's a business and finance channel. I think it's important. So let's talk about it. So I'm not going to talk about food, exercise, and sleep, because you know that already. You know, I don't have to lecture you on that. But I am going to talk about some other factors that have come into play very recently that is affecting all of our health. Okay, your health, my health, everybody's health is affected. And this has further gotten enhanced after COVID. And what I'm referring to is your exposure to digital media and your phone and your laptop. And what's so harmful about that is that we are sitting in one place for very, very, very long hours. And I thought, okay, there can be a simple problem. Just block all the apps on your phone that take a lot of your attention and you're free. But then I realized I had to get done a lot of the things on those apps. I mean, I needed those apps. They're very useful. They're good for business. They're good for productivity. They're good for making connections. And it's a necessary evil. And you know, a lot of the people are talking about the digital detox, or not being online, and abandoning Instagram, abandoning Facebook, abandoning Google, abandoning WhatsApp, and like being on the phone. But then you will find that you have gotten disconnected from the world. And a lot of business transactions are happening online, so you really cannot escape it. And a lot of the people started to propagate that, and even many celebrities started to remove all their pictures from Instagram and leaving the platform. I remember Diddy, the rapper Diddy, he had so much of social media content, and some documentaries were released, and he removed everything, and he just put a black picture on his media. And you see him now, a couple of years later, he's back on. And why is that? Because business and media have become intertwined, and it's a tremendous power that we have now with media and with internet, with apps. A lot of people are making a lot of money from it, and it's a good thing, but it has a lot of negatives also, and they are mainly health related concerns. And I'm going to be talking to you about strategies to deal with these situations. And just yesterday, I was making a list of all the reasons why I go online, and I realized that all the aspects of my life, almost all of the aspects, were connected to my phone or my laptop. I go on my laptop to create and manage my project. I have two companies, and then I go on my laptop to or my phone to write down my thoughts and create plans about the future, to write down my goals. I go on several apps to connect with people, manage girlfriends. And then I go on the app to maybe order a cab or, travel somewhere, book a flight, order food. And it's almost like this thing is fucking stuck to you. And no matter how many apps you block, it's just become a part of us. Elon Musk is not free from it. Most of the people are not free from it. Very few people have managed to become free from it, really free from it. And I'm going to talk about how they did that. But, Diddy is back on Instagram. Why? Because money is related to it. He probably saw DJ Khaled making so much money using media. He was like, I cannot ignore this thing. You see someone like Francis Ford Coppola, who was the producer of Godfather, a producer or director. He is on Instagram. Martin Scorsese is on Instagram. He was making Instagram reels with his daughter. So this thing is becoming more and more powerful and more essential almost for us, for our business, for our life. And it's scary because your food comes from it, taxi comes from it, money comes from it, client and customer management comes from it. You are made to work on a laptop in your work, and this thing is taking over. I know you are aware of these things, but if you look at the long-term consequences, I started to gain weight. I've never gained weight, and I had started to gain weight. I had all kinds of stress in my face, in my body, and I was like, why is this happening? I'm still young, and the moment I started to work, this thing is going in a downward spiral. And I got a bit scared and worried, and then I started to uncover the reason. And one of the main reason is that the digital exposure, the gadgets, and sitting on the sofa for long hours. So here are some of the remedies. Okay, we all have to go and do the work. I wouldn't recommend getting off any of the social media platforms. I wouldn't recommend getting off, anything. In fact, you want to use the technology and leverage the technology. And we will do it Martin Scorsese way. And Martin Scorsese admitted that he does not know how to do editing on a laptop. So this is a film director, and he's probably master in editing. But he doesn't know how to edit on a laptop. He gets an assistant to do it. And he just stands and he looks at the scene and he asks her to edit it. And he could be standing, walking around, thinking, getting his mind running, and he just asks someone else to do it. Another individual is Ari Emanuel. He is one of the very high profile, agent in Hollywood, probably one of the most high profile. He has connections with Jack Ma, Elon Musk. And he now owns UFC. He's worth around $500 million. And he has a standing desk. So when I saw him, I linked the stress with work. I said work is stressful. But actually, it's not like we are killing each other. It's just a negotiation or a conversation most of the time in work. So how can that be so stressful? I understand there are different types of pressures, but you look at someone like Ari Emanuel, who is in such a powerful position, and he deals with all kinds of pressures, and he looks in great shape. He looks much younger than he is. So what's that balance? And I realized that he has a standing desk, and he doesn't wear leather shoes. He wears shoes made of cloth or sport shoes. Even in office, and he walks and walks and walks, and he moves around quite a bit. And whenever he has to get something done on a laptop, I assume he has an assistant. So here is the solution. We gotta get rid of our contact with these gadgets and put someone else there to do it for us, and we have to train ourselves to operate through this person. And that person can be a virtual assistant, an actual assistant, and we got to train ourselves at some point to do this. That's one solution. The other solution is a standing desk. And I still go online on YouTube, for example, or watch my business courses or some other courses, marketing courses, to listen, and there is no escape. I enjoy watching courses, but the hours can be the other hours, the whole other thing that I do online, I can delegate that, and so can you. And if you are someone who's working at an office and you have to, there is no choice, maybe you can convince your boss to work from home, and then once you are home, you can delegate that and save a whole bunch of time and use that time to build a business. So, there are a lot of creative solutions, but I just wanted to highlight the problem that this is probably one of the very main factor. And I saw this while I was building my healthcare company. I saw what are the drivers of diseases. And I had a study in UAE that I was looking at. It was a market study done on how healthcare spending is increasing very dramatically. And people are spending a lot of money for their healthcare and diseases. And one of the main factors was lifestyle related diseases. And you have got diabetes there, you've got cancer there, you've got heart attack there, and all of these are related to lifestyle. We have become inactive and it's going downhill. Our financial progress is going really fast, but our bodies are going downhill, and things have to change, and things have to be managed in a different way, restructured, because all of a sudden, almost overnight, gadgets have become one with our life. You see taxi drivers using them, you see people who are in extreme poverty also have gadgets. I have seen, my maid in India also has gadgets. It's crazy. And people are getting unhealthy, a lot of them. And just because you go out to the gym and have a six-pack or whatever doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy, you know what I mean? And that's one big factor, very big factor. The other thing that I would talk about is air quality and water. So you've got pollution. I was living in Delhi, and it's one of the most polluted cities in the whole world. And my father died of cancer, lung cancer. And he was a smoker, but he wasn't like a crazy big smoker. There were people who smoked more than him. And he said that it happened because he was driving on a scooter for some time and he was exposed to all this pollution. And then in school, while I was growing up, I read that 1 in a few traffic policemen in Delhi have some kind of a lung problem. And it's crazy the kind of pollution that you can be exposed to in certain cities. And I recently met a German girl or European girl, somewhere from Europe, and she showed me an app and she showed me what's the pollution level in Delhi, and I was in Delhi. And she said that this is crazy. If this happened in Europe, we would have to declare a national emergency. These are way off the charts. And I got scared. I was like, there is nothing I can do about it. This air, I cannot live here and be healthy. It's just out of question. So I have to move out. And then, I moved out, and within a couple of days I left. So air quality is extremely important. Water quality is important. You want a lot of trees around you, environment. You probably want ocean. If you don't have the ocean, you definitely need some trees for some fresh oxygen. And these factors, I think, are extremely important, even more than food sometimes. And then you've got the food quality. You have got, a lot of food are processed. They have a lot of chemicals. Chemicals have infiltrated our life. They're putting chemicals in food. I remember I was eating a cucumber in Delhi, and I could almost taste like the water from gutter, because there is a river in Delhi which is probably one of the most polluted rivers in the world. And this river water flows into the farmland and fruits are growing. And it had a really bad, weird taste. And there is a bunch of chemicals in that river going into the food. It's crazy. So even like things like cucumber, you think you're having a salad, but it's affecting you. And we need to get into the details of all of this We need to protect ourselves from all of this. We need to live in environments which have cleaner air. And you may have to restructure your business, but it's going to be worth it for you, for your kids, for your family, for yourself, for your mistresses. Think about it. And so, I mean, we have to restructure all of this and live a better life. So assistants who's going to do most of the work online, and you can do something else, watching a course or something like that. It's only a couple of hours. Maybe you can just do the meetings. It's less stressful on Zoom, for example, or you can do in-person meetings. Or Zoom is good because it saves time, but you can reduce the time through having an assistant, standing desk, and living in a city which has clean air, good water quality, good food quality, and have higher life expectancy. And I was actually doing a study on the areas where a large number of population live very long, beyond 100, beyond 90, for example. And one of the places that came up was Sardinia in Italy. And they made a note that this is a little island which has probably low level of cars and transportation and has great air quality. It's next to the ocean, and people have good fish and good quality of food. Fish comes from good quality of water, so it doesn't have a whole bunch of diseases, and people live very, very long. And then I started to think in this direction, and I thought that I'll make a video about this because I know it's business and finance, but I think this is an important subject for me to cover. There are people who are running in these polluted cities and they're counting calories, and they think they're healthy, counting calories. But what about the air quality, water quality, food, where it comes from, etc.? So I thought that, and the other one is sitting in a sofa for too long or sitting in a chair for too long is going to hurt us. Even I'm working on some of these things. After working for like 3 hours constantly on the project, I abandoned my health and things started to go a bit south. I felt it in my body. I didn't feel the same. And I looked different. My board members were telling me what's happening, to you. And I could have still built the business, still work harder, and avoided all of these problems. So it's not an excuse. It's not like you have to leave your work, but it's about managing or restructuring things in a way that you're way more productive and your health is not affected. In fact, you're flourishing in health, flourishing financially. So that's the message for today, and I'll talk to you soon.